Hello, everybody, and welcome to this evening's Facebook Live. I'm Dr. Charlotte Norton, Medical Director for the Slimming Clinic, and I'm here with you this evening to talk about all your medical weight loss questions. So whether that's related to weight loss medication, whether it's related to weight loss treatment as a whole, or what to do, feel free to ask me any questions that you'd like, and I'm here to answer them for you. So I know it's Sunday. We don't normally do a live on Sunday, so we thought we'd do one this evening. We find that we get quite a lot of new starters on a Monday, and I think sometimes that comes from sort of getting to Sunday evening after the weekend, and maybe you've overindulged, maybe you've kind of been working really hard on your diet and lifestyle plan, and then you find that actually come Sunday evening you think, actually, gosh, I've fallen a little bit off plan here. What should I do? So we thought we'd give you a chance to ask any questions if you are feeling a bit like that, because it happens to everybody. Weight loss isn't a straight line. Not every day do you do your best, and not every day do you find that you eat exactly what you should or exercise as much as you should. Yeah, that happens. In life is for living, and part of the course is you work your way through weight loss. But it's about getting back on track, isn't it? And it's about taking that right step. Come tomorrow, right? What am I going to do? How am I going to get myself feeling like I'm a bit more back on track and back, towards that weight loss goal that I'm working towards? So happy to answer questions for patients who are already on weight loss medication. Maybe you're thinking about it. Maybe you've heard some things about it. Any myths you want to ask. So feel free to ask me any comments as we go ahead. I've got some questions sent in ahead of today anyway that I will answer. But if there's anything you want to ask, then please do go ahead. And for anyone joining me a little bit later on, or maybe watching this afterwards, I am Dr. Charlotte Norton. I'm the medical director, so I lead up the team of doctors that work at the Slimming Clinic. And I think that's something I always like to reiterate at the beginning of these lives. Whether you choose to have an appointment with one of our doctors, or whether you choose to use our online prescription service, no medication is prescribed, dispensed or dispatched by our own pharmacy unless a doctor has reviewed your medical information and is to deem that the medication not only is suitable for you, but is also safe and it's going to be effective. It's the right dose, it's the right type, it's the right kind. So that's something that we're really keen on making sure everybody knows, is there is a doctor who sits behind every medication that goes out, and you can find all the information. Oh, sorry, my dog just strolling past. He's going to have a relaxing Sunday evening now. All our doctors, the information is on our website, including their GMC numbers. GMC numbers are really important when you look at a doctor, because that's their number prescribing, or their license number with the General Medical Council. So you can find out about all our doctors and all our prescribers through there. Right. Let me start off with one of the first questions I got asked. And the first one is, how do I overcome the nausea I feel when I change dose? So this comes, and I imagine this is to do with weight loss injections. So at the Slimming Clinic, we prescribe weight loss injections and weight loss tablets. The weight loss injections, which lots of us hear about, Wegovy and Mounjaro, containing the active drug semaglutide in Wegovy, or that was the drug that was in Ozempic when that came out first, and also Mounjaro, which contains tirzepatide. And both of these drugs work in a way to reduce how hungry you feel. They all work by reducing appetite, reducing how much you eat, and how make you feel fuller when you eat. So therefore, they really help support the diet component of when you're trying to lose weight. And some of the side effects of these medications, the injections, are gastric or stomach based, and that's because they are copies of gut hormones. So they have an action on the gut and also the appetite control center of the brain, and they slow down how quickly food moves through your digestive system. That does help to create that level of fullness, which we're looking for when you're trying to reduce the amount that you're eating. But also it leads to some of the initial side effects. Now, some people start these injection medications and feel no side effects. Some people struggle with a couple for the first few days, and usually that happens about 24 to 48 hours after the dose. But usually they're quite transient, they disappear quite quickly, and also tend to come as you go up in dose, because these medications, the weight loss injection medications, you go up in dose every 4 weeks. As a minimum. Obviously, people can take different time spans, but you don't go up any sooner than 4 weeks. And one of the common side effects that we've heard about here is nausea. People can feel a bit nauseous, and that's all to do with the slowing down of your gastric system. So for some people, there might be certain triggers that make you feel that way. So see if there's any particular type of food. Sometimes if people eat something particularly heavy and dense, sometimes because that's what sits in your stomach a bit more, that can make them feel a bit more nauseous. Some people find actually when their stomachs are empty, they feel more nauseous. So if that's the case, sometimes having, something you can eat more frequently, little small things, again, almost for any women that take the medication or experience morning sickness, how sometimes actually nibbling something like a cracker or having something to eat and something in your stomach can help reduce that nausea as well. So I would definitely think about eating something if you find that you feel more nauseous when it's been quite a gap since you've last eaten, or if you find that there are particular foods or bigger style meals that you eat that sit in your stomach that make you feel sort of uncomfortable because again that meal isn't moving through your digestive system as quickly as before, then again try and make those little changes. But as I say, even if you're feeling nauseous, often it tends to be just that sort of 24-48 hours after the dose, and then it settles, and you find it's only when you're going up in dose. So it shouldn't be the vast majority of the time. And the key thing with this medication, if you get any side effect that's becoming significantly disruptive to your day-to-day life, if you found that you're feeling so nauseous or getting to the point where you're vomiting and unable to control that, then it's important that you reach out to the medical prescriber of the medication. So for us, that's our team of doctors here at the Slimming Clinic. Got a question here from Claire. I've ordered Mounjaro on the 27th of March. I'm still waiting for your delivery after it being authorised a few days later. How long does it take to send? Well, thank you, Claire, for your question. So I'm guessing you've used our online prescribing service. So you've gone onto the website and requested a medication. So when we get your form through, when you fill in your information, it goes through to, first of all, our administrative team, our patient that's who just glance through it and make sure that it's filled and we've got all the information that we expect, and then it's passed on to a doctor then looks at it and authorizes the medication. When that's been authorized, it then moves along to our pharmacy. We use our own internal pharmacy here at the Slimming Clinic to prescribe it. It's internal. It serves solely our Slimming Clinic patients. So usually we try to get, after it's been approved by a doctor, we do try and get it out to you within 48 to 72 hours after authorization. However, there's such demand for these medications in the marketplace that supply is tricky and can sometimes be difficult. So I apologize that you've waited since the 27th of March. Is a length of time. The best way to find out individually about your case is now we have a patient portal, because what we've also done recently is changed our system. And actually the reason for changing our system is to make the online service smoother and quicker, because we had a very different service before for quite a few years. Actually, well, up until really quite recently, all of our treatment was based on appointments. So you saw a doctor. And then with the launch of these injection medications, there's been a huge growth of online pharmacies who are prescribing these medications out to patients, sometimes not appropriately, but they have, and we've had to adapt our service. So we didn't really have the right setup beforehand to have a really smooth service. So some of those technical issues have plagued us recently and have meant that our systems have slowed down as well, which again, I do apologize for, but we are finally out of the back of. So if you leave your apologies, sorry, I was trying to flick through the questions there, sorry. If you haven't heard back from a member of our team, then do send a message through the portal area of your treatment pathway, and hopefully we'll be able to find out your exact particulars there. Next question, Louise. I have already subscribed with you and have received my first 2 pens, and weight loss is going well. However, I'm still waiting my final pen. So there can be different reasons why. If you buy a multi-pen pack, i.e. you buy more than 1 pen at a time, which some people choose to, sometimes there's a need for us to do a review before that final pen comes. So without seeing your case, Louise, I don't know if we need some medical information from you to decide on that next pen, because sometimes some people go up in dose, sometimes people stay on the same dose, sometimes people go down a dose. So it might be that we need a form, in which case what I'll do is I'll ask a member of the team to look at you and respond back here in the comments if it is a form we need. Or sometimes if you're an appointment-based patient, it might be that you need to attend an appointment with one of our clinicians, because sometimes, even though we sell like a starter pen pack, often we opt to break that down. Sometimes that's your choice. Sometimes patients choose to go one by one, even though they bought 3 for the benefit of getting the bundle item, because you don't know maybe what dose you'll need in the future doses. doses, or sometimes clinically the doctors might look at it and think, actually, do you know what, I want to break the pens up just to make sure that you get a smooth journey. Because the problem is with prescription medication, once that pen's sent out, we can't take it back. There's no refunds, no exchanges. It can't be done with medication, because once it leaves us, we have no idea about how it's been stored, or how it's been used, and it can't then be shared or prescribed to another patient. So we tend to break it up to make sure that you get the right one. So again, I'll Louise, thank you for your comment, and let's get a member of the team to have a little look and drop you a line back as to whether we need any information from you to get that next pen out to you. Karen, you've asked another question here. I've put on weight during the past 7 months after being on Wegovy. I want to restart with Wegovy. Do I have to start on the lowest pen? I had no side effects going up to maximum dose. Right, so if it's been 7 months gap since you last were on Wegovy, then yes, you do need to go back to the initial dose. We know from the clinical data that although, and it's great to hear that you had a good weight loss result with it and you didn't suffer any side effects, if you go straight up to one of the higher doses, it could cause you to have more significant side effects. So yes, you do have to, after that length of break, go back to the initial dose. But it's great that you tolerated it, and you might feel differently this time. Again, it depends on your starting weight and things like that as well. So and then you said, once I get back to my goal weight again, can I stay taking Wegovy on the lowest dose? So when it comes to maintenance, it varies. So there's a couple of things to think about. Number one is if you're maintaining your weight on the medication, then you can continue on the medication. And yes, a lower dose would be more appropriate than the higher dose to suit you. One of the key things for us is, what we don't want is to promote your weight going underweight. We're not, the medication isn't here to make you an underweight. So as long as your weight is staying in a healthy BMI and the medication is helping to keep you there, then you can use the medication for maintenance. But for some people, sometimes it's a financial thing, because the pens aren't cheap. To keep going on with them, it could also be challenging. So it's up to you. And that's why, sometimes it's really good to book an appointment with one of our doctors to talk through maintenance, not only to just the pen, you can be prescribed the pen, but also to look at some things you can do with your diet to help avoid regaining weight in the future. But we know it happens. Even with the best intentions, sometimes we can find that we regain weight after having lost weight. So and that's why we're here to help support you with that. Louise, you've gone onto the portal and there's no option to escalate it further. So if you're going onto your portal and you sent us a message, it goes through to our team. We also have an email address as well, and we have live chat on our website, which is also manned by people. So if you haven't had a response from your message on the portal, though our team do look through those messages every day, then maybe use the live chat and an agent might be able to get back to you there. But also, having put your note on here, we can see if a member of the team could have a little look. And just see what it is that we're missing. Again, have a quick look through your emails and make sure when we do a form, you may have got a reminder email as well. So have a little look and see if it's gone in there, just to make sure that we get your medication to you. Right. So just having a look back through some of the questions I had before. So this next question I've got is, I have to remind myself to eat. Surely that's a good thing, as I'll lose weight quicker. Not necessarily. So obviously the purpose of taking weight loss medication is to help support the diet component of losing weight. So we know that losing weight is a complex thing. There's lots of elements that go together. One area that the medication helps with is diet. It's helping you control how much and what you're eating. We know that we also need to adjust the body side, so the exercise and movement side, and there's the mind side as well, controlling, all the relationships you have with food and how you eat, and all of those things need to come together to get your best results. So the medication works to help manage the diet side, but absolutely, it is not there to eradicate your appetite. The idea is not that you don't eat at all. Number one, that's not healthy. Your body needs fuel, nutrients, vitamins, minerals to work and to function. We need it to live, and to thrive at life as well. If you're not eating and your body's struggling for energy and the vitamins and minerals it needs, you won't be healthy. You won't feel good. And two, to get your best weight loss results, there's a sweet spot between having enough of a calorie deficit that your body burns your fat stores, but also having enough food to keep your metabolism going. If you eat too little, you find that you drive your metabolism down too much, that actually your weight loss progress can slow. And this can be a common reason why people plateau. People start losing weight doing a particular diet, you eat the way the amount of calories, maybe you're a calorie counter, that you've done that, you do the diet you've always done, and that works when you start. But sometimes actually as you go through weight loss and your body changes, your weight changes, your body composition changes, that calorie balance or what you should eat and the amount you should eat can change. And sometimes when you get to that plateau, people can think, oh, I'm not losing enough weight, so I'm going to eat even less, and actually that slows it down and you don't get that best result. You do have to feed your body. Metabolism, the act of breaking down fat, takes energy. Your body has to physically do a chemical reaction to break the fat down, to release the fat, to burn it away. And if you don't give your body fuel to do those things, then it won't do them as well and you won't get your best results. So not eating at all is not healthy, and it won't get you your best weight loss results. Being in control of what you're eating, being able to decide what you're going to eat, being able to stick to your healthy choices, being able to eat how, what, and when you wish to, is how the medication should help you. As I say, it should not be at the point where you're not eating anything, because as I say, that's just not healthy. And you don't want to feel like not your best. The idea of, obviously there's lots of reasons to lose weight. As a doctor, I sit here and say to you, I'm only interested in your health. And that's the reason as doctors we care about when people's weight goes overweight. We don't want to make people feel uncomfortable about how they look. Everybody can look how they like. Everyone can express themselves in whichever way they wish their appearance to be. But as doctors, for us, it's because we know over time having an excess in body fat can lead to health conditions. We know it does. Everybody's different how quickly that can happen. But we know there are lots of conditions now, type 2 diabetes, heart disease, types of cancer, that can all be associated with being overweight. Because sadly, fat doesn't just sit there and do nothing. It's active. It does things in the body. It can be pro-inflammatory to the body. It can make changes in all of your organs across your body. So what we want as medics is to help you lose that fat weight, only the fat part, not the bone or the muscle, the fat part of your weight, because we know actually it's going to help you feel healthier and then feel your best and be more energetic. And, so there's lots of reasons why it's really important to make sure you fuel your body to get those best weight loss results. And that's why, although lots of people look to get the medication online, and that's absolutely fine, get the medication, sort of stick to a plan that maybe or that's worked for you before, which is, totally everyone's choice and how they wish to lose weight. We really find that patients who engage with our doctors and our dietitian and actually get that little bit extra advice on, what to eat and adjusting your diet, and also thinking about how you eat with these types of medication, because again, what you're eating, because of the way they work on your gut, you can find actually there are better things to eat than others. And we have a membership area called the Slimming Club that we have alongside our weight loss treatment. And that is for people on weight loss medication, whether you get it from us or you get it from anywhere else. And it's a plethora of resources, tips on diet, recipes, movement, mindset. And, if you are on, you ask some questions when you join. And if you are on weight loss injections or weight loss tablets, you get dietary tips based on how to get the best results from those medications and avoid, getting side effects as well. Super. Right. Let me have a look at the next question, make sure I answer everything. Oh, okay. And the next question was, help I've plateaued, shall I increase my dose or eat less? So I guess actually that's we talked about eating less, not ideal, dose changes. So, it depends. So when it comes to dose changes, there's two elements we look at as clinicians. Number one, how are you tolerating the dose you're on now? If you're tolerating the dose you are on now with minimal to no side effects and you're not having any trouble, then yes, your dose could go up. The second thing we look at is, well, how's your appetite controlled? If on that dose, you're fully in control of what you're eating, then you don't necessarily need to go up in dose. Now you can absolutely go up in dose, but you might find that actually it's better to go into the diet and explore what you're eating, because if you're if you're in control, just going up in dose to just have less appetite and eating even less might not actually get you past that plateau. So it's a bit of a looking at all the components together. Again, sometimes, it can be not just about the food, but it can be about looking at your movement. Now, lots of people hate the idea of movement if it's not something you're comfortable with or you've done before. And it doesn't have to be, I say this all the time, you don't have to be out there running, you don't have to do a particular type of movement that you don't enjoy. It can be walking, especially for women, walking at a good pace. You use your biggest muscles, your thighs and your bum muscles when you're walking, and they're your biggest muscle group. They're going to burn the most calories if you use them. Just going for a vigorous walk, or, you know, putting some music on and having a dance, or playing, you know, in the garden with the kids. There's so many ways you can get a little bit more movement in. You know, steps, you know, I know people calorie counting steps, you know, you don't want to make necessarily all about counting things, but if you're somebody that has a smart device, or you carry your phone with you all the time, that often your phones can count your steps. Even just trying to hit a step goal and gradually increasing that can sometimes be what you need to push past the plateau. So not necessarily just food, but look at those other components. And also remember, it's not just the amount, it's what you're eating. Now, my advice, if you're taking a weight loss medication of any kind, or not even if you're taking if you are trying to lose weight and you are reducing how much you eat and eating a reduced diet, then you should always take a good, healthy multivitamin alongside it, because you can find that you can be lacking in some of the trace, you know, minerals and vitamins that your body needs, again, to get your best weight loss results. So think about taking those as well. You know, so, you know, look at what you're eating and look at all those components together, and then hopefully you can push past that plateau. Sometimes it just takes a little bit of steely determination, which I know isn't what everybody wants to hear. Wouldn't it be great if there was an absolute magic cure for getting to where we want to go to? Sometimes you've got to stay consistent with what you're doing, and you will get past it. There are lots of complicated things that goes on in our body when we start to lose weight, especially if our weight has got into the higher BMI ranges. And actually, you can find that your body starts to fight a little bit against you at a stage. We find that when people start to lose weight, well, we know, in fact, from medical studies, that actually your metabolic rate naturally decreases a bit. It's sort of a survival tactic where, you know, your body wants to keep its stores. So you can find that you can fight against that, which doesn't help you. So you've got to fire your metabolism up by, you know, eating, you know, fueling your body enough, doing a bit of exercise to burn calories in a slightly different way. And we know that your body starts to like a certain weight and it wants to be at that weight. And most people that have done a weight loss journey might know that there's a point that your body sort of likes to sit at. And sometimes that can be hard to push past, but staying consistent, you know, doing what you're doing and believing in the fact that you are eating a calorie controlled diet, you're moving a bit more, you're hydrating yourself well, you're sleeping well, and all those good things, it will happen. But sometimes it is just being confident in the process, which again, I appreciate, sometimes can feel lengthy and can feel a little bit like it's not quite happening for you. A question here: can we no longer email or speak to staff? So we found that actually we're getting a better way to respond to everybody in a more speedy way by using our new message portal. So that's on your in the messages area of your patient portal, which you can find by navigating to our website and using the email address that we have for you. But we have live chat as well. So our agents that were normally on the phones are actually now focused looking at your messages and live chats as a way to respond to you, because we find that it's actually a much quicker way to get round to everybody and respond to everybody quicker than going through the telephones. So I've just said, can I change to order online? Well, I don't know where the content is. I don't know if you've already placed an order, or if you want to order online, or if you're an appointment patient. But yes, I mean, there is a way to, obviously we have two ways to be a patient at the Slimming Clinic. There's appointments, and you can start that journey by booking an appointment on our website. And then we've got two types. We've got a long one and a short one, depending on what length of appointment that suits you in your calendar, you know, when you can fit an appointment in. And we have the online prescription request service. So we say, obviously, we call it a prescription request service because you pick the medication that you'd like, you pick the dose that you think is the right dose for you, and then you supply the medication to our doctors, and it's the doctors that will have a look at it and just make sure that it's the right strength dose form for you. So, you know, 9 times out of 10, you're absolutely fine to go ahead with the medication that you've chosen, but the doctors do just review it before anything, you know, gets sent out. And if there's any questions, again, the doctors will message you via the portal as well. So it's a great way for the doctors to actually clarify anything that maybe might be missing from that form. And you know, our form, some patients we have been to us and other online providers before. Our form does ask quite a few questions. We do ask a bit, and if the doctors aren't quite sure, they will clarify details with you, which you know, you might have found is different from other providers. But we just want to make sure that we definitely know that it's you we're prescribing to, and that you are safe to have that particular medication. Because obviously, when we aren't having an appointment with you, when we aren't speaking to you and getting that information, we just need to make sure we're really robust in getting all that information from you. And say the doctors are now using that portal system as well. Okay, so the next question I've got is I'm anxious about how to store my medication, but Marcus, you sent another one. You've used the portal. You sent a question last week with no reply, so you've used the message centre. Again, I can only ask that somebody from our team will reach out to you if it has been missed. I do apologise. We do have a team that look at all those portal messages every day, so I apologise if it has been missed or if you haven't been responded to. So again, I will having on here, I'll ask a member of the team to respond to you on here with that. The next question I got was about storage of the medication, being anxious about storing your medication. And again, I reckon this is about injections, because the tablet medication you can store like any other tablet-based medication, at room temperature, always out of the sight and reach of children. But the weight loss injections are what we call a cold chain medication. So before you are using them, they should always be stored between 2 and 8 degrees. Okay, so that is, in a domestic fridge, you can get to that temperature, especially if I always usually say, if you've got that, put it in towards the back of the fridge and the lower part of the fridge, because that's the cooler part of your fridge than the top part of your fridge. And try and put it as far away from the door. Don't put it in the door, because obviously when you open the door, it springs out. So you keep it back there, and you'll keep it at that temperature. Don't freeze it. It shouldn't be frozen. Between 2 and 8 degrees. And that is for medication when it's unused. Okay, so you haven't started using your pen yet. Maybe you've ordered a medication and actually you're not going to start it yet. Or you've ordered more than one pen and you're not going to, you've got pens to last you a couple of months. So the ones you're not using, keep them in the fridge, and then they will last for as long as their expiry date. Once you start using the pen, then it's up to you. You can keep it in the fridge. And again, just get it out, do your injection, put it back in the fridge. It won't heat up significantly in that time that you're enough outside of the 2 and 8 degrees to worry about. But if you don't have to keep it in the fridge, because once it warms up to room temperature, you've then got between 4 to 6 weeks to use it. Now, these doses are designed to be taken every week, every 7 days, so 28 days. So at room temperature, the medication will last for the whole time that you need to inject yourself. So it doesn't matter. You can keep it at room temperature if you wish to. That's not an issue. So if you potentially don't want to store it in your domestic fridge because you don't want family members to see it, or maybe the time you want to take it means that you're at work and you don't want it in the work fridge, for example, then if it's just that one pen, you can let it warm to room temperature. Use it every week for 4 weeks. All the pens are designed to be a 4-week dosing pen, and there's no issue there. So but obviously if you've ordered more than one pen and you're not intending to use the pen straight away, keep it in the fridge. So when we send the medication to you, we send it in cold packaging. So it comes in packaging that's got a layer of wool in it, and it's got some ice packs in that we've tested and we know stay cool for that length of time, which is why, again, when it's being delivered, we use Royal Mail. So you should always get an email from Royal Mail as well as us when it's coming to you with a tracking link. We try and ask you to try and receive it the day it's sent out. If you receive it the next day, again, it should be fine. We've got about 48 hours of cold of the pen. But yeah, so try and be in for the delivery as well again. So I hope that answers your question about storage. We do get people that say they want to go on holiday with it. Now, again, that's where it's a little bit tricky. If you want to take multiple pens and fly with them where you can't control the coldness, that's tricky. Obviously, if you do want to take it, get yourself an insulated case, put some ice packs in there, and hopefully, as long as you're not going too long haul too far, and always put it in your hold as well, because the hold luggage goes down below in the plane. It's kept cooler than your hand luggage, which is obviously in the cabin with you. Excuse me. But it can be slightly harder to guarantee it stays at that level of coldness. Right, just looking at the next question. What is the best day to take my medication? Okay, so it's totally up to you. There's no certain day of the week that's any better. What I'd say is what we recommend is try and keep to roughly the same day and time each week. So think about a time that's best for you. Maybe a time that you're always at home. If you're maybe somebody that travels with work, so you can find you're always here, there, and everywhere during the week, maybe have it at a weekend. It's totally up to you. You can take it in the morning, take it in the middle of the day, you can take it at night time if you wish. It's completely up to you. The medication is formulated to work for 7 days. That's why you take it once a week. So it really doesn't matter. Just take it when it's convenient for you. If for example, you normally take it on a Monday and you've gone away and maybe you don't come back to a subsequent Tuesday or something, that's fine. Just take it on the Tuesday. Moving it, shifting it by a day will not cause you significant issue. The key thing is you don't take 2 doses any sooner than 4 days. 4 days is the absolute minimum between 2 doses. That's okay. Because again, the reason for this is just the risk of gastric stomach upset. And you don't want to be giving yourself unnecessary side effects. You don't want to be feeling uncomfortable, tummy cramps, or feeling sick, or having loose stools, or being really blocked up if you don't need to. So don't take them any sooner than 4 days between each dose. That's too soon. If it is a bit longer, that's okay. It won't mean that it's become less effective. As long as you don't go more than 2 weeks in between your dose, you should be fine to carry on with the same dose. 2 weeks is sort of the cutoff where we would say actually maybe you need to think about either going back down a dose or whatever. So, but these things do happen. Sometimes you're not able to take your dose in time. So I hope that answers that. I've seen a question: are there any supply issues with the medication? So this is interesting. So there's no supply issues at the moment like there were when Wegovy first came to market. So some of you may remember this medication, semaglutide, the once a weekly injection medication. When it first came to market, it was only sold as Ozempic, which was the licensed pen for diabetes, but it was being used off label for weight loss. And then when Wegovy launched, which was the licensed version for weight loss, and there was a real issue with supply in the market that made it really hard, and people were waiting significant lengths of time to get doses, to go up in doses, etc. So there's not that level of issue. But with Mounjaro, with some of the higher doses, the 12.5 and the 15 milligram, there is some supply light supply issues, but not significant, not to the point where at the moment at the Slimming Clinic we are fortunate enough to be able to still access enough of those doses for our patients. But we know that there is some supply issues out there, and that's just the manufacturers doing it in a fair and just way to make sure there's enough supply for everybody, to make sure patients, because that's the key here, you as patients should be able to access your dose. There isn't one person stockpiling it and monopolizing the amount of dose that they have, so they give a level of dose to everybody. But no, there shouldn't be significant disruptions in doses out there. But again, there's no rush ever to get to that top dose. And I say this when I do these lives. There is no there's no reason why you need to rush to that top dose. All the medical studies that we get are obviously at that top dose, but that doesn't mean you only start losing weight at that top dose. And hopefully, many of you are on a weight loss journey or have been, you start losing weight from day one of the lowest dose. And how quickly you get to the top dose doesn't matter. We have patients that never get to the top dose. We have people that get to the top dose really quickly or go, textbook up. It's all about you. It's all about how you're achieving your weight loss, how you're tolerating the medication. And remember, you can move between the medications as well. You might find you start on one, you might start on Wegovy. Maybe actually it doesn't work for you. You're not finding you've got a niggly side effect. Maybe Mounjaro might work better for you. You might actually thought you wanted injections, but actually our weight loss tablets might work better for you. So there's lots of different options. And it's all about finding the right tool that's right for you, as it is with anything, when you're trying to change a habit. It's about finding the tool that works best for you. So thank you for those that have asked questions. Now, there's lots of questions here about messaging, and we have had some changes at the Slimming Clinic. We changed our website. We changed the way that you engage with us as patients. So for those of you who've had disrupt, or the way that we're engaging with you has changed, we are working as hard as we can to, number one, get those new processes working seamlessly as we intend them to, so we can respond to you quicker. If there's been delays, I am sorry. And we know that there's been delays with getting some medication out with the changes in our technology system, and we are working as hard as we can to get that medication out. And if you want to message to ask where it is, then absolutely use your portal, use your live chat, and we will get back to you. And apologies if we haven't. We work as hard as we can to make sure we catch up with all of that. I think one of the things that I just want to stress about, when you are buying weight loss medication online, and we get this as a question sometimes, and important for you to do is always do your scrutiny of where you are getting your medication. With us at the Slimming Clinic, you can see several things about us. You can see our CQC registration, and you can see all of our previous CQC inspections. The CQC are, do lots of inspections. They do them virtually and some in person, but you can see that's all public information that you can see. You can see our doctors, you can see their GMC numbers, you can look them up on the GMC register. So again, you know who they are, they've got a license to be able to prescribe medication in the UK. And the other thing you can see is our pharmacy. Again, all that information is on our website. You can see our pharmacy, GHPC, General Pharmaceutical as a registration number. And again, you can go on their website and you can see our latest inspection, and you can see the GHPC registration number of our superintendent pharmacist who oversees the pharmacy. So all of those things are really important. They mean that you can have confidence in us as the Slimming Clinic, that we are a registered and regulated provider. We also have an additional certification called Legit Script, which again gives us the ability to be able to use the online prescription request service for you to be able to look for medication online with us. So there are lots of things that hopefully can give those of you who are either with us now or thinking of joining us a comfort in knowing that you are engaging with a registered and regulated company who will make sure that the medication that you're prescribed, whether it's via an appointment or online, is safe and correct for you. And we know that we are providing you with legitimate and correct medication because we buy it directly into our own pharmacy. So thank you for those that have joined me on a Sunday evening. It's been great to have company and the questions you've asked me. If you didn't ask a question here today and you want to, again, just put it on the comments at the bottom of the live, and members of the team will keep an eye on those to make sure we answer in due course. But otherwise, thank you, everybody. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your Sunday evening. Thanks, everybody.